Welcome back to Small Caps. My name's Kerry Stevenson. Today, really delighted to bring you Tietto Minerals, ASX code, TIE, easy to remember, TIE. It's a tie. And their executive director, Mark Strizek. Mark, welcome to Small Caps. Great to see you.
Hi, Kerry. It's great to be able to be on Small Caps. Very excited.
Well, this is your first interview with Small Caps. So what I want to do first up is Tietto Minerals have got a very big gold project, the Abujar gold project in Cote d'Ivoire. Now, I'm sure it's not just me, but I'm sure people listening will also think, Cote d'Ivoire, what is that like as a jurisdiction? Is there geopolitical risk over there? We all know, you've got a gold project in Australia, everything's hunky-dory. What's Cote d'Ivoire like in Africa?
Look, it's a really exciting place to explore. So Kagan Wong, the MD, moved across there from Liberia and was on ground in 2012. And what attracted him is what attracts all of us to West Africa is the fact that it really is underexplored, and there's a lot of opportunity for making for really good gold discoveries. What I'm going to do is just show a little slide there and just show where our project is and where it sits in the scheme of
But is the government of Cote d'Ivoire, is it pro-mining? Is it something that they're just turning around and saying, yeah, we're being very supportive?
Look, they certainly are. We caught up with the Minister Kouassi was at Indaba this year and explaining the government's case. We've been very, very happy with with their support, and currently mining makes up only about 2% of GDP in Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire is quite a sophisticated economy. There's a large middle class. The major exports, like Australia, you've got agriculture, cocoa, coffee, and then outside where Abujar is, and you may be able to see down there, it's a thriving metropolis. There's a burgeoning big middle class. There's a lot of people that are getting on in terms of development. For example, our country manager, Fred, and also a shareholder, his wife runs a small software company. So it's got a lot of the times there, it really is a case that it is quite a developed country. The government wants to see mining increasing to about 4%. And that's always, as investors looking, it's more the risks tend to be when you get this very large project in a country and it accounts for something like 30% of GDP or so forth, which can happen. And that's where probably more of the risk is. We find that Cote d'Ivoire it's a francophone country, so had been a French colony, but it's got a very established rule of law. It's got a very good mining code with good tenure for explorers, very clear rules, and a very good administration that is receptive and tries to encourage investment. Obviously, we've heard about Burkina and Mali, where there's been a lot of gold development. There's a lot of exploration that's still to come, so the potential here is immense. That's why we're here. I guess the key points there, you've got that the Birimian greenstones, which we know about for their potential to host gold mineralization. And you've got some majors that are operating. You've got Tongon, which is owned by Barrick. And then you've got Endeavour, which is just recently merged with Samafo. They've got 2 projects. So they're growing very, very quickly. And then also on the Australian side, people would be familiar with Perseus, who've started with Sissingué in Cote d'Ivoire and are now developing Yare, and look like they're on track to be up and running towards the end of the year with first gold production. So we're just drilling down on Abujar. So we're just located here, and some of the key points. Cote d'Ivoire, like Australia, Abidjan is the cultural heart and really the commercial heart. Yamoussoukro is the capital, like Canberra. And we're over here near Daloa, which is the 3rd largest city. So it's a major trading and agricultural city there. So it puts us in a great position. The other aspect about Cote d'Ivoire, it has a fantastic road network. As you travel from Abujar to Yamoussoukro, it's a dual lane highway all the way, and quite often you fall asleep in the car and wake up and you wonder, where you are. You could be traveling, maybe in Queensland.
Wow. Okay.
And the other aspect it's got is it's got a fantastic network of hydro power, so grid network. So Cote d'Ivoire is a net energy exporter to its neighbours. So that's where it really puts us. And I guess in Australia we're talking about the energy settings and so forth, and why that's so important for manufacturing and miners. And that's one of the key aspects here. Power in Cote d'Ivoire is very cheap. It's cheaper than in Australia. And that's something that we think about. The fiscal regime, 25% corporate tax rate, gold royalties that have a sliding scale. So it's a really good place to be, and has allowed us to make a fairly large discovery and continue to grow. We recently announced just over 3 million ounces. So we've been moving very, very quickly here, and there's more to come as well. As you look at the map, we've got tenure around us, but at Abujar there's a lot of exploring to do, and I think
Mark, historically with Tietto, just for our listeners, when did Tietto list? Because 3 million ounces is a decent size. Now, we know that it's in a great location, and that late last year you increased the resource, I think, by 24%. So this is a growing resource. But let's just go back historically. When did Tietto list, and what's the growth been like?
Okay, so look, I'll kind of zoom back a little bit, but so Tietto itself founded in 2010 by Kagan, and was privately held, a non-listed company exploring in Liberia, crossed into Cote d'Ivoire in 2012. So that's one of the keys I think about Tietto, is that we've got a deep connection into Cote d'Ivoire. Have been exploring there for a very long time. And Kagan's built up a network, and we've also the initial partners that he met have joined the company as they're actually shareholders as well. And the other aspect, we've got a great Ivorian team that have been with Kagan. So Abujar, the ground was first applied for in 2014. So it's Tietto's discovery. And it was a farm-in option with our partners, Bamba and Fred, who are set are shareholders, and Fred Nikanza is our country manager. So the first resource Kagan identified in 16, 700,000 ounces at 2.1. And then getting onto that IPO. So through 17, we worked on an IPO, and we were able to list in January 2018 with 700,000 ounces at 2.1. So in very short time later, we're up to 3 million ounces. So we've moved very quickly. And I think it really just demonstrates the prospectivity of the Abujar Gold Project. It's a pretty impressive, I guess you could call it almost a run rate. We're moving very, very quickly. And we do definitely believe there's more to come as well.
What sort of grade are you looking at that 3 million ounces? Is
right.
it 2.1?
Right, so the 3 million ounces now is 1.2, and the aspect that investors and shareholders need to focus on, it's the project we call AG. So we've grown that now to 2.3 million ounces at 1.5, and that's also got a high grade core, around about 1.6 million ounces at just on 2.2. So that's really what we see as the driver for a standalone development. Everything else is a value add, or it's the AG core that we believe will pay for all the capital, and that's the bit that really gets us excited.
Now, talking about costs, I think from memory, back in the beginning, you guys started to. Do you own your own drill rigs, and that's brought the cost down? Because let's talk about costs, because there are, as you say, power is good, so it's a good jurisdiction to work in for power. What are we looking at cost-wise?
Right. So with our drill rig, so we took the decision, excuse me, in 18 to bring that drill capacity in-house, and we've expanded it over the through into 19. So it really, I can just flip through here and just show you, what we're able to do there for drill costs. So we've currently just bought another rig, so we'll actually have 6 rigs on site. These are man-portable diamond rigs, but they're delivering, incredible, high production rates at extremely low costs. If we were to go, on a like-for-like basis for a meter drilled, and we're only talking about a contractor here, we can drill for around about $35 US.
Wow.
To contract that out, we'd be looking between $100 to $150 to $200 a meter for some of our deeper diamond holes. So it really, it's rewriting the rules of exploration. So it's allowed us to have a very low cash burn as we were able to increase and grow our resources up towards that 3 million target, which we delivered. And as we go forward into the next year, we're also going to be able to continue a very aggressive drilling program of over 70,000 meters we're targeting. And but the cash burn will be, incredibly low. So it allows us to, be aggressive, to take risks, and that's what this game's about. If you're not drilling, you're not growing. But importantly, we won't be drawing down our bank balance inordinately compared. If you were to drill that program with commercial rates, you soon start needing to go back to the market. So that's where it's really allowed us to change the rules.
How big do you think this is? So, because we're going to talk about some of the future growth, but you've been drilling this out. You're at 3 million ounces. From an investor's point of view, how much more drilling? What are the next steps on Abujar?
So in terms of exploration, we've got a lot of targets that are located very close to where this high-grade core at Abujar there. So you've got and the resources to date have only come from this main Abujar shear, which is to date delivered 3 million ounces, but there's more to come. We've only drilled about 11.5 Ks of that. And within just showing you here, there's a 20-kilometre strike length or a 10-kilometre radius centred around that aging core. There's probably about 8.5 Ks of strike still to test. Aside from that, you can see within there's a multitude of targets that have been identified by our geological team. So they're the type of, that's where the resource growth is going to come from. We've got this western shear on the side here that at Clefranco we've identified some targets. And aside from that, we've got this fairway, which actually covers the 3 tenements. So the resources are only from the middle tenement at this stage, but we've got a joint venture in the north where we've got 51 working towards 80% ownership. And
who's that joint venture with, Mark?
It's with a company called Gale. And at the middle tenement, we're currently at 90% with our partners, B&F, Bamba and Fred. In the south, we own 100% of that, so it's a Tietto tenement. And we've got a number of around about 6 targets that are diamond drill ready, and we'll be hitting them as well. So lots and lots of news flow to look forward to, and a range from reconnaissance, looking at definition up to testing and into resource definition. So we've got that scale because obviously exploration always comes with risk, but I think it's going to be a very exciting year.
So 2021, let's stop sharing the screen so I can see you properly again. Mark, that's Abujar, so that's ongoing drilling for pretty much the rest of 2021 and growing that resource.
That's correct, yeah. And that's one of the keys for Tietto is that we've got this dual strategy of exploration as well as moving into feasibility. So that's the other aspect is that we're able to do 2 things at once, and quite often you can end up in a feasibility stage and the exploration dries up because it's it can be expensive to continue that exploration effort. But at Tietto we've got we've discussed that incredible firepower in-house that will allow us to drill very, very cheaply.
I think that's a key differentiator, isn't it? That you can get on with a feasibility study while still going through the exploration. Now, I know that there's a lot of future growth, and it's not just in Abuja, is it? You have got some other areas that you're looking at within this within Cote d'Ivoire.
Look, that's quite right. So we do have a pretty expansive package aside from Abujar, and I can kind of just quickly share that and talk about that. It's something that probably I think investors sometimes miss, is that we're not just Abujar by itself, and we've got a number of it's a fairly significant land package that probably by themselves are a number of companies really, and that's at this stage, especially with COVID, the works had to stop, but we're looking at moving things ahead. So up in the north there, these
sorry to interrupt you again, Mark, but with COVID, is COVID impacting Cote d'Ivoire quite heavily, or are you still able to continue doing the drilling? What's the story there?
Look, it hasn't really impacted us at all. So all the way through, we've been able to advance our Abujar project, both from an exploration sense and resources and delivering the 3 million ounces, but also from the feasibility side, and from environmental approvals. So we've had teams on the ground. So it's meant that we've been very careful about movement of people to and from site, isolation and quarantine and so forth. But aside from that, what it did mean is that although we'd had work programs planned for some of the other tenure, we put that on hold just to minimise any risks. In general, the country itself, I probably would say that they're managing this quite well, and I think it's a key point that explorers and developers and producers in West Africa mention when talking about COVID, is that these countries deal with pandemics. Obviously, malaria is an ongoing, typhoid, and more recently, and you see Ebola as well. So the population, people know what needs to be done. There's actually a fairly comprehensive management program. I think the Ivorian government, they did have a lockdown. Like in Australia, essential goods and so forth were able to be moved through the country, and that's come out. Overall, look, we're not seeing any increase in deaths that you could attribute to this. You've got also a fairly young population compared to Australia and other countries, and a population that, as I said, deals with endemics and pandemics on a regular basis, really. So it's something that the country's moving on. So it's really companies such as Tietto and others. We're managing our risk, trying to protect our people, but work and life goes on.
And have you got good relationships with people on the ground there and with the government, I guess, to enable business to keep going and smooth going, I guess?
Yeah, look, that's quite right. We've got a great presence in Cote d'Ivoire with a very dedicated, highly professional team of geologists that are running this program. So we have weekly or as required phone hookups or Zoom calls, and working there. But our management team, the geological team, they know what needs to be done. They've delivered an incredible amount of core drilling, air core drilling. I'm very, very happy with their work performance. It is to a very, very high standard.
Mark, you went from 700,000 ounces in January 2018 to just over 3 million ounces today. Do you see this? Is this potentially going to keep growing and getting bigger? And at what point do you stop exploring and start to say, all right, let's turn this into a mine and get some cash coming into the company?
Well, look, that's what we've embarked on right now. So in terms of the resource side, it's we see it as a snapshot. So we will continue to explore, and we do expect it to continue to grow. But we believe, and this is why we pushed the go button on the feasibility study, and we've got a PFS that's due to land early in Q1, is that we believe we were going to reach 3 million ounces, and we think that's a good a good stage to step into, turning it into a gold mine. That's what we've recently announced, is that we think it's got, especially with that high grade core, it's got the potential here to be a very profitable mine for our shareholders, and the PFS will be able to deliver that maiden reserve. So it's something we're looking forward to.
So 2021 is going to be a very busy year, and potentially maybe some cash flow in a couple of years' time.
Look, that's the target, and we're in a very, very good position to be able to execute our strategy. We've got that drilling, we've got that ground position in to be able to continue to explore. And I mean, while we're talking about I'll just kind of maybe jump across here and just show you the where the project is. It's ideally located. We're looking at the potential here for a fairly significant large scale open pit gold operation, and we've got there's some aspects about the Abujar ore which are very, very encouraging, and sets us apart from some of our peers. We've got this high gravity, this high CIL recoveries, and that gravity can be over 80%, getting us up to about 98, 99 with CIL.
Wow.
The other aspect that's important to note is that the material, the energy inputs that are required to grind this, crush and grind to fairly coarse sizes are probably about 30% less than typical. So that will allow us to look at a very simple flow sheet, single stage crushing, and then a SAG mill, and then that gravity and CIL for gold recovery. The other aspect is that we're very close to the lower, and there's what's called a 90 kilovolt ring main feeder. So the power here is very, very bankable, very reliable. And that's one of the aspects that probably the slide doesn't show, is that we're working on the PFS. We're working with a range of experts that have delivered for other companies. So this has all been done before in Cote d'Ivoire. We're working with Mintrex, who had recently worked with West African for the Sanbrado. So they're doing the metallurgy and the plant design on the waterfront and site layout. We're working with Knight Piésold, and they've worked with people like Endeavour, with Perseus at Yaouré, and so forth. And the great thing here is that it looks very, very doable. There's no red flags. There's no people living over the area. This is showing the AG high grade core. And the other aspect in terms of water management and so forth, it looks very, very, compared to somewhere, any rainfall to the west of us is about 2 meters a year. Here about 1.2, 1.3. So again, it looks very, very manageable. Power is cheap, as we said. The tariffs there just about 12 cents or so forth. So we won't need to put in expensive generators or so forth. So this is grid power at a cheaper cost than you can buy it in Australia, generally. Environmental approval, that was secured. We announced that the other day. So we're moving very, very quickly. I think the aspect here for us was that getting that 3 million ounces, but importantly that 2.3 million ounces at AG at 1.5, and that high grade core, which is there's currently 1.6 million ounces at 2.2. It really sets ourselves up for what we believe is going to be a very profitable operation, and the PFS is going to deliver those numbers, those metrics. So it's something we're eagerly awaiting, and we'll be able to share that as soon as that's delivered. And we're talking about Q1, and that'll be very early in Q1.
What I find fascinating is Tietto are just like it's some projects take a little bit longer, but you guys just keep going. Well, we'll change the way it normally gets done, and we'll just go faster. And you seem to be kicked a lot of goals. But what I want to talk about now is the future growth, because I believe you've got some assets up near Perseus area, haven't you?
Yeah, so up in the north there. So these ones are still to be granted. So I'll just see if I can get that, throw that onto the
Oh,
screen.
don't worry. We can just have a chat about it.
Okay, yeah. So that's what we call the Bundiali group. So that, you're right. It's in a very nice province there, and they are currently under application. They're with our partners BNF, and that ground we need to do a bit of aeromag and some saws and so forth. But it's what you would call elephant country, and so it's got some good potential, and eagerly awaiting that. The other area,
Mark, why is it important to have that one as well? I'm curious because it seems to me that the Abujar Gold Project, 3 million ounces and growing, that almost takes a lot of focus. Why have another project as well? Does that not take your eye off the ball somewhat?
Look, we've got a fair amount of depth, and obviously you're quite right. There's Abujar will be able to continue to grow organically, but aside from that, we've got the a fairly expansive package in very prospective terrains, and we want to try and grow more resources. That's the game here. Is ultimately, as you think about the future of the company, is getting Abujar, I guess our what would I say? Our aspiration is to become a gold miner in Cote d'Ivoire in West Africa with Abujar. And then aside from that, we've got the potential here to add more ounces and hopefully more mines to it as well. And I think that's the key, is that the markets often view, so look, maybe getting ahead of myself here, but I think we want to we see the potential of these of a land package aside from Abujar to also hold significant value for shareholders.
So it's about value for shareholders. So just to wrap it up a little bit here, Mark, what's the future vision, and what can investors look for coming up? And finally, for those that are not investors, why is now a good time for Tietto to be on not only their watch list, but why should they invest in Tietto right now?
Yeah, look, we've got a very simple strategy. We've looking at this dual-pronged approach of exploration, continuing to grow our resource base within the Abujar package. And we're also moving, very quickly to becoming a developer as well. So, that's where we've been able to explore, we've grown, and the next step is to deliver a gold mine. We believe that we've got the right team. We've shown that we've, as you say, rewritten the rules of an explorer in bringing that drill house, that drill package in-house. As we look to where once the feasibility, pre-feas and DFS next year, and a financial investment decision, it's looking pretty good in terms of what's going to be available with constructors and also the right kind of management team to be able to build that for us. So, I think there's some windows of opportunity there. The other aspect, we'll have a pretty healthy cash balance. And when we talk to investors, they're very comfortable with Cote d'Ivoire. As we said, it's got a very good established rule of law. There's a number of fantastic analogues they can look to, like Endeavour, like Randgold Barrick, and also Perseus. And Roxgold as well. They're moving very quickly there. And so, we'd love to be the next cab off the rank, and we'll be moving very quickly and methodically and professionally to make sure that can happen.
Well, if the past is any indication of the future, you guys have moved very fast so far. And I love the fact that you've got the rigs in-house now, so you can do drilling at $35 a meter rather than the 100 to 150. That's for shareholders, that to me it's almost a game changer, isn't it? Because you can burn a lot of cash just on drilling alone when you're doing so much exploration.
Look, that's right. I mean, the key here is that we are shareholders. We're very incentivized and aligned, and I'm not going to kid you. It's a fair amount of work to do this, but we just see the benefits. It pays dividends for us in terms of our ability to minimize our cash burn while being very, very aggressive. And I think when we look at what we've been able to achieve, as we said with the resource, it's only a snapshot. There's definitely more to come, and we're knocking on the door of being able to, deliver our maiden reserve as part of that PFS, and that's going to be able to put a dollar and cents value as to, we believe the Abujar is worth a fair amount of value to our shareholders, and I think that's where that opportunity is. That there's still more growth to come, and it's a great time, I think, to come on board and definitely have a good look at us and think about what we've delivered and what's to come, because it isn't going to stop. We're going faster.
You are going fast, and we at Small Caps love bringing stories like Tietto Minerals, ASX code TIE, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first time chatting with you, Mark. It will certainly not be the last, because I think it's a fabulous story, very exciting. Congratulations on the growth and the future of the company. And we'll look forward to speaking to you in Q1, if not before, when you go to the next level. Thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thanks, Kerry.